Hey guys, I'm Siobhan, a first-year medical resident, a second-year medical resident, third-year medical resident, a third-year medical resident, a fourth-year medical resident specializing in rheumatology, fifth-year medical resident, a fifth-year medical resident. Hey guys, I'm Siobhan, an internal medicine and rheumatology specialist. Wow, guys, looking back at 7 years of videos, it's been so emotional to just reflect on this journey. I have grown so much as a person. Yes, I went on to become a doctor and have credentials and learned a bunch of skills and knowledge, but me as a person, I've grown so much, and my view of who I am in this world, who I feel connected to, has changed and evolved because of you guys, because of this community. It's pretty amazing, and I feel really sentimental about it. And 1 million subscribers. I mean, what? It's crazy. I can't even conceptualize how many people that is. If 1 million people stand in a line, that's like going from Chicago all the way to Indianapolis. It's wild. Mark and I were actually recently in Indianapolis. We went to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse Stadium to watch the NBA playoffs. It's the first time I'd ever even been to a basketball game. It was so much fun. And if all of us, 1 million of us, tried to fit into that stadium, we would fill it over 55 times. It's an incredible milestone. And I don't know if you guys really realize how much it means to me when I get comments and emails and letters from you guys. Like, okay, I'm actually a pretty sentimental person. I've got this memory box of YouTube things, and like I have so many letters all in here from Newfoundland, New York, Christmas cards. Look at these, just like the care taken on all of these letters. Like, and this, look at this seal. I couldn't break it because it's just too lovely. This is actually like personalized rosin for the violin. Someone actually made this. I mean, you guys are amazing. This is only the physical things. Like I have an entire digital memory box. Like seriously, you never know who you're reaching and what the impact's gonna be. And so when I get a little glimpse of it, I love celebrating your successes with you guys. When you message me and say that you've gotten into nursing, or because of the videos you pursued becoming a paramedic, or just that you're learning about your health. Like, I love that. Oh, here's another one. After the video I made with Mustafa about his experience in the delayed diagnosis with lupus, probably because of his skin color, I got this message. So me and other medical students in my class edited our dermatology textbook to specifically address patients of color and the origins of systemic racism in medicine. This means all the classes after us will learn this from the beginning. Wow, I'm speechless. Like, that's amazing. That's truly this kind of ripple effect that I could only dream of, you know? So yeah, it means so much to hear from you guys and the impact. You guys have sent me art. Like, I mean, you know, I'm good at music, but I'm terrible at drawing. So anything to do with visual arts, I'm just so impressed. That's really cool. I think that sounds like Mark might be home. I was really hoping he'd join the video, so I'm hoping that's him. There he is.
Hey.
Hey, you're back. I even made you coffee.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. You're the best.
You know, Mark is a coffee drinker, and I only drink tea.
Coffee. Siobhan might be the only healthcare professional I know who made it through training without becoming a coffee addict.
It's true. I actually tried, especially because Mark loves it so much. I actually tried. You guys sent in so many questions. I tried to pick out a whole bunch. Do you see how it goes?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, so first one here, starting YouTube. What made you decide to share your medical experience with the world via YouTube? All the best to you.
Oh, well, so I mean, you guys know that I was a violinist before going into medicine. I think because of that, I had so many non-medical friends that I'd be texting throughout medical school, and I would always be thinking, did I just not know this? Or here's this cool fact. And they would be saying, no, I had no idea about this either. They were interested in what I was learning. And so at one point I thought, okay, well, maybe I should start sharing this somehow. And that's when somehow I started thinking about vlogging or just talking at the camera. I guess I wanted to share what I was actually learning, so like an educational piece, but then a big part of it was wanting to document what I was going through. And it was like, you know, day one of residency that I started the channel. And yeah, and Mark and I were just not just starting dating. I don't know how long we've been dating. We met like a year before that.
Yeah.
And I went to him and I was saying, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought, I mean, just being in the middle of medical training, I was like, who on earth would want to like watch what happens? It's a crazy time and it's not the most glamorous, but you really saw the potential.
So he was like, I totally support you, but I don't think people are really like want to watch this. So in my mind, I was like, I'm just doing this for me. You know, let's see what happens. It's gonna be like my friends and my parents watching. The moment it wasn't just my friends or my parents commenting on the video, that's when I was like, oh, wow, this is cool.
Something to this.
Yeah, people are interested. Yeah.
Did you have any anxiety when starting your channel or any nerves about mean comments? Well, I remember when the first mean comments started rolling in, I was a lot more upset than you were.
It's true. He was like protective.
I was ready to go defend you against these the online trolls.
It's true. I don't know. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered you. Felt like so many good comments for every one that was critical. It didn't faze me too much.
But see, you have this like great philosophy when it comes to this type of thing where you care deeply about opinions that matter, and then if that doesn't factor in, you just don't feel like their opinion really matters. All right, the next question we have here is, did you start out thinking or hoping that it would go like this?
The 100,000 subscriber mark seemed like we had climbed Everest. I was like, this was completely unexpected.
Yeah.
And so getting to here, we even laughed. We're like, okay, we got one play button. Like, we're never gonna get to 1 million subscribers.
Right.
So that wasn't even, it didn't even factor in. Didn't think it was possible at all.
How much work is it actually to record and edit and post YouTube videos?
Okay.
A lot more than you might think.
Yeah, more than I ever thought.
Yeah.
And it depends on the type of video. So like the day in the life versus the medical mysteries. I would say the most work goes into those medical mysteries. There's the brainstorming part. Maybe I find a really cool article. I want to turn that into a case.
You know, first thing in the morning or right before we go to bed, and we'll just be talking about video ideas. So I mean, I find that really fun and exciting because it's really a creative outlet for both of us.
Yeah, you guys should see my notes app on my phone. It's like pages and pages of various ideas we've had, comments that you guys send. Like I'll do screen grabs and keep them for ideas, or we see something in the news, we'll text each other about it. So that part is kind of like all the time.
Yeah, and then so once you have a concept that you feel like we can take this to the next level, then we have to start writing a script.
A research phase. Like we're usually tackling like pretty heavy medical topics. Like you want to be up to date on everything. You want to make sure everything is really accurate. So yeah, we do a lot of research. Then the script writing, which we'll often go back and forth, sending things like, does this make sense? Do we need to explain this more? Does that term, you know, all of that.
And so how do we bring those stories to life for a more general population? And that's, you know, it's always challenging. How do we word this? How in depth do we go? Are people going to really be interested in, you know, nobody wants to see the Krebs cycle on YouTube necessarily. But,
unless you're prepping for an exam.
Yeah.
So very often they start out as these mammoth scripts where we're covering so much detail, and then we say, wow, this is too much.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like whittle it down. So it's about the pacing, all that stuff.
Yeah,
so that takes time. And then I'll actually sit down and film. It always takes me longer than I think. Like it actually takes probably like 4 or 5 hours.
For sure.
Because I don't use a teleprompter, so I've got, I don't know, I might be too picky.
She's got the script open beside her, and then she's the different takes and
make sure it sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being a little bit perfectionistic. I could probably get better at this.
Yeah, you might be a little bit of a perfectionist.
You think so? Yeah. Oh, and then actually going back and forth with my editor. Like he'll send me back a version, we'll go through it and put in a whole bunch of comments. Like sometimes I'll actually go over to his place, we've gone together even, and we'll just edit side by side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, the number of hours, it's a lot.
What's your dream vacation? We've had a lot of great adventures.
How do you pick?
But we're really into like long distance hiking.
Yeah, they call it like through walking.
Yeah. There's this path through the UK called the Pennine Way, and it starts, just goes along the spine of England up to Scotland. And it's going to take us a few weeks to do, and sure it'll be a fun adventure. So
yeah, we love that.
That's what we're dreaming about right now.
Yeah, being able to like disconnect, be in your body, be in nature, walk from town to town. We've done that in Spain and in
Yeah,
Italy.
Switzerland, Italy.
Yeah, so we love it.
Yeah.
So I think that's our dream vacation.
What was your biggest shock when you came to Indiana to study at IU?
Well, so I was an international student, but obviously, like, it's not so different between Canada and the States. But one of the big things, I think, was the sorority and fraternities. Big streets, full of these enormous buildings, and then you'd see all these girls, like, lying outside in, like...
In their bikinis. Yeah.
Like, studying. I was like, is this actually Legally Blonde? Like, I'd never seen anything like that. And just quite recently, actually, we went back to Indiana. I wanted to take Mark there and so he could meet my violin prof.
I love the team spirit. We walked down the street leading from what are the gates there?
Oh yeah, sample gates.
Sample gates, and there's like at least 10 shops that's all sell IU merchandise.
Yeah, oh, I got a show.
It was really, really impressive.
There you go. I'm representing IU alumni. Dun, 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 IU.
All right, next question. Is it hard having a partner work such a crazy job like you? How do you keep the love? Well, I think for us, like, actually being in the same field is actually a really good thing. Medicine's a really challenging field to be in, and you witness a lot of suffering. So I think having somebody who completely understands that you can debrief with, I would say it's a huge advantage.
I agree. I think sometimes when I hear people saying, oh my gosh, I could never be married to another doctor, I think it's the idea that you're working long hours and you're separate. And like Mark was saying, we're doing so much together that I don't feel like it doesn't feel at all like it's ripping us apart.
We're not in our own little silos.
If anything, it sort of like brings us closer together.
We're doing very similar work.
Yeah.
I've just graduated med college. I feel lost. How did you get through this phase?
Oh...
let's assume that means end of residency. Because, it feels like that's all training up to that point, and then taking that leap.
That's a really big transition. We both felt that. We just went on one of these long walks that we were telling you about, and then we traveled. We just kind of allowed ourselves time, one-way ticket, traveled around trying to experience the world. And but all I can say is, as time went by, as we had time away, disconnected, not doing exams, like just being ourselves, it felt like these layers coming off to like expose the real me again.
You need to like intentionally build yourself back up after medical training, because in a way it's almost designed to break you down and then form you into this like physician, which is it's one way of doing things. But you lose a lot of yourself in the process. For me, I lost. I've always been a high-level squash player, or athlete in general.
He's been on like 3 varsity teams. Like, he's always been this huge athlete.
So like not having the time, or in my case, maybe not making the time to continue on as an athlete through medical training. So I had to work with a personal trainer and really be dedicated to kind of regaining that side of myself. Yeah,
I felt the same way. For me, with music, I totally went from that being my whole life to barely playing for months at a time. Anyway, that's a whole other video, but maybe I needed some time apart from it before this kind of being able to get that relationship going again.
All right, next question. Hey Siobhan, congrats on 1 million. I've been watching your videos for nearly 4 years now, and I'm curious how you find the time and motivation to create content alongside your job as a doctor. Sending you love.
Okay, well, that's a good one. Right after we're saying how many hours it takes. First year of residency, I was also editing myself, which was very cute when I look back on it, because I was watching YouTube videos on how to edit in iMovie.
It was just a lot of all-nighters.
I would say it was like an all-nighter.
Like
Friday night, I'd be editing all night. Yeah.
And then you had this deadline. It had to go out at noon on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday morning, I'd be doing the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And you just were like, I just want to relax on Saturday morning. I'm like, but I need to get this done.
Yeah. It was a lot of work.
People are grinding in residency, whether that's research or they're doing like presentations and educational like challenges or whatever they're doing. For me, this felt like that thing I was building.
This was the project.
Yeah, like a lot of people were grinding and working hard, so it just seemed in some ways normal. Whereas now I'm like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't do like an extra call shift a week. Like, we need to preserve the health. But now we've chosen to have more flexibility in our schedule. Like the locuming that you guys have seen us do gives us the time to chunk out. Like when we're working super hard, super long days and hours. And then we can chunk out, okay, this is a week we're gonna be writing and filming. Like we actually take the time to do that now, which I'm really grateful for. I just don't think it'd be possible otherwise.
It wouldn't be. How have you seen med/health YouTube change from the start of your channel until now? I think the big thing that's happened recently is the little, you might see under the video right here, the little badge saying this is a licensed healthcare professional in Canada.
Exactly.
So the YouTube health ecosystem.
Yeah, that didn't, at least to my knowledge, didn't exist when I first started. Like it was just, this is a platform, I'm gonna upload stuff, like any kind of social media. I didn't have a sense of any humans behind it. And then all of a sudden they developed these partnership programs, like, and then there's a YouTube health vertical where there are people who just work on YouTube health. And now they've had some more events where you can go and meet other creators. And it's much more of a community vibe. You just get to meet more people. You don't feel like you're as alone, and it feels like maybe there's a little bit more of a vision for health on YouTube as a whole, which is pretty cool.
If you're looking for health information on YouTube, always look out for that badge, because you know that that's somebody who's licensed, who's trained, and is qualified to share that sort of information. All right, next question. How did you and your husband meet? Love your videos.
Oh, it's a good one. Do you want to take it?
Stroke of luck, really. She was subletting a room in her house to one of my friends, and they decided to throw a big party and extend the invitation to my friend who invited me. So, because it was really just for your year. I was a year behind her at med school.
It's true.
So she was class of 2017. I was the class of 2018. So I got the invite to the cool upper years party. Hang out in the living room, like we just met. And I noticed you guys had a flag above the fireplace, which looked like
super nerdy.
It turns out that she and her housemates had made this flag, 4 little emblems that would signify who they were before medicine.
Yeah, like what we had done before medicine.
Yeah.
Like for me, there was a little violin.
And anyway, so I asked her like, who's the violinist? And she told me, yeah, she plays the violin. And I told her, yeah, I play the violin a little bit too.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, I did ask if she wanted to play some duets together, and she said yes. So our first date, I actually brought my violin over to her place with some violin duet music.
Okay, but I did not know if this was a date or not. I was like,
true, yeah.
this guy is so cute. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous, but I was like, is this just like a music thing? Is this more? I don't know. Like, 'cause we never said it was a date.
You gotta keep them guessing.
I was like tongue-tied. I could barely talk. Like I was so nervous and giddy. Anyway.
I didn't know how good of a violinist she was. I didn't realize that she had done her entire undergrad in violin performance, was the concert master of the Indiana University Orchestra. Yeah. And had played with the Toronto Symphony Orchestra as a professional violinist. So
I didn't mention it.
She blew me out of the water, but she was kind enough to have a few more play dates with me. In terms of
it was so much fun. Yeah. He's really humble. He's really good. Okay, but then we went to his turf, which was squash, and I'd always played like some racket sports growing up, but this is where when we got into the squash court, I was like, oh my gosh, like.
She's surprisingly athletic.
So this is how we started, and I still wasn't sure, like, are these dates? What are they? And then history. How do we say it?
One thing led to another.
One thing led to the other.
And then we were official.
Yeah, it was a really sweet time. Good memories.
All right, next question. Where are you originally from? Background of each parent.
Oh.
Siobhan's got that hybrid vigor.
Hybrid vigor. I guess that's true, yeah. So my mom is half Indian from India and half Irish. And I think that's where I get all the freckles. Although there are freckles on the other side too. My dad is half Polish and half German. All
right, next question. Do you and Mark want to have children? I think you two would make great parents.
Oh, that's really nice. I saw a lot of those questions from you guys. We never really talked about that here. I mean, I would say in short, the answer is yes. That's something that we see in the future, but it's not like, for some people they're like, yes, absolutely, 100%, no question. I think it's something that we've thought about and really kind of soul searched about what's right for us. And at least for me, I'm a little bit nervous about life changing so much. Like I am so happy, like so happy. and love our lives together, and most likely having a kid would enrich that. And then I also, from having friends and family going through this like young kids phase, you also know how much it changes and that it's a big challenge. So
something that we want to go into intentionally, like not just almost out of obligation, but you know, to think, would we be happy with kids, would we be happy without kids? And then, you know, if whichever decision we make, we know that we've like weighed the pros and cons, and then you're doing it a lot more intentionally. So you know, when you do have, you know, when you have kids, there's always going to be challenges. It's going to put strain on a relationship. It's going to put strain, you know, financially, time wise. So
you can obviously tell we've had a lot of conversations about this. Mark, so there's like a heaviness to your voice. You're like, all of these things. I also think there's going to be joy and excitement, and we love our nephew and we love spending time with our friends' kids. And so like, there's the joyful part. I feel like it was so heavy. I think it'll be okay.
We'll see.
Is this the reaction from the kids part?
No. Congratulations on your success. Question, have you and Mark had a consult on the same patient? So actually quite a few. One in particular was really interesting. So when I took over the list, it was a patient with kind of a mystery rash. People were wondering, like, was this self-harm? You know, it was a really weird rash. It had been investigated, but I noticed by reviewing the chart that it had been seen by a rheumatologist in the past, and there was a question of whether or not it was vasculitis. And so I figured, like, before we jump to any conclusions here, let's make sure this isn't, you know, something serious. So I consulted Siobhan on the case, and actually she was able to use some of her connections in Hamilton with some of the subspecialists and really get to the bottom of the case, which it did turn out to be. It was vasculitis. A severe vasculitis.
I won't say which one because it was kind of a rare type, but yeah, that was a wild case.
That was a good case.
Yeah, I think people actually like the whole like I don't know, husband-wife duo.
Yeah.
I think people, like a lot of the patients kind of get a bit of a kick out of it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next question. Do you watch the TV show House? And if so, what do you think? Well, that last case was kind of like House MD case.
It was actually, that was, okay, yeah. I was obsessed with House. Probably leading up to med school. You know, when I was watching Grey's Anatomy, I was watching House. I was trying to learn everything about what medicine was like. Of course,
it's like you want to relax and watch a TV show, but you also want to feel like you're being productive and preparing for residency. So I did the same thing. I binge watched House before starting.
No way! I didn't actually. We never talked about that.
Yeah.
But it's not super true to form. Like you're not going and like breaking into patients' homes and getting answers that way. Like that is pretty dramatic.
Plus, I'm always worried that like House kind of perpetuates the fantasy of this like physician who like knows everything and he's always right. He doesn't get along with anybody else. Like being a good doctor really requires good patient rapport. You need to work well on teams, and you also need to know your limits. You know, no physician can be up to date. There's thousands of research papers published every single day. Hopefully not too many young physicians are watching Dr. House and thinking, I want to be just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Plus the drug addiction component to it, and yeah.
Is there an aspect of medicine that you don't like? What's challenging as a physician?
I would say the hardest part is kind of related to like the social determinants of health. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's someone who's homeless who comes in with very high sugars, is very sick because their diabetes isn't well controlled. And in the hospital, we fix them up, everything's good, and they're ready for discharge. But then you start realizing all the challenges that come with homelessness. So don't have a cell phone. How are you going to reach them to get appointments? They need to go and get blood work. They need to get their medications. They have to be able to check their sugars all the time. Like all of these things are barriers. And really, to no fault of their own, they end up back in the hospital sick again in a couple of weeks. And like we see this a lot. Are they in the hospital because of their diabetes? Like, yes, but a large part of that is the homelessness, is making sure we're supporting them. In other ways, which I can't fix as a doctor, and that's really, really challenging, and it's hard to see people suffering with that.
Yeah, the healthcare system is very good at putting out fires, but we are not good at preventing fires. How do you keep up with the work and the YouTube? Could you post more videos? We'd love to.
We really want to. I love that you guys want more videos.
We want more videos.
We want more videos too.
Yeah.
This is going to be a goal. It's progress. I think we've been better recently.
Yeah.
And maybe
We're going to try to get it up to weekly videos if possible.
we will try.
Yeah.
I would love that. That is the goal.
Big push coming up.
Don't hold us to it, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Would you do any meet and greets?
Oh, that's another one that I would love to do because you guys know, like I love community. I love meeting people. I love chatting with real people. And I get so excited whenever I had a chance to meet you guys. But I'm also a little bit nervous because we've had some issues with some stalkers, and like from a safety standpoint, it makes me a little bit nervous. I hate that that would be a reason not to be able to see you guys. So maybe we can revisit it again. Think about it.
All right, next question. Any violin content coming?
Okay, that's another one that I want to.
Where's the violin in Violin MD?
I know, exactly. Okay, I am so passionate about music. I love playing violin, and we've had conversations about like interspersing it into the channel, but so far we've wondered, like, is that confusing on medical channel to also have music? And then I'm like, oh, I should make a separate channel.
And then we think about how much work that is.
Yeah, because you guys already want more videos on this channel, so then like how could I start another channel? So we'll be thinking about it and then nothing comes of it. So we'll think about it again.
Yeah, I think one thing that we've been seriously thinking about is using it as a way to like build charity into the channel. So maybe putting on some charity concerts, trying to think of like what the repertoire would be,
That would
what
be the
sort
dream.
of venues, you know? All right, last question. What does the 1 million plaque mean to you? Did you always want to get 1 million subscribers?
No, I think we talked about that before. It was like, it seemed completely out of reach, and now it feels still a little bit unreal. It's really special.
Yeah.
It's really, really special. Do you want to get it?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, here it is.
It's enormous.
Has a nice feel to it.
Yeah. And you got a message from YouTube saying, "You did it! One mission, one channel, and one more thing. 1 million subscribers! Congratulations!" Hey, wait, let's move this. The gold button.
It's kind of heavy too.
It's actually heavy.
Yeah.
It's actually heavy. There it is. What was really cool is that I was doing a talk at YouTube at one of their events, the like YouTube health events, and you have to actually send away for one of these. So I'd filled it out and sent away for it like 6 weeks ago, and I thought, okay, like, it's definitely lost in the mail. It was like, I don't know.
They were keeping a secret from you.
Yeah, so apparently they redirected where it was going and sent it to their head office. And so after I gave my talk, they came up and surprised me on stage with it, which I thought was so sweet. Like, it's such a lovely group. Thank you guys all for making this possible. Like, this is about a community. This is not just about us at the end of the day.
And especially those who've been here since the very beginning. You know who you are, and we know who you are.
Yeah,
so thanks
exactly.
Thanks for being with us.
So now the big question is, what next? And I would love to really hear from you guys. What kind of videos do you want to hear? More of the day in the life, more medical mysteries, us chatting, interviews, patient stories. Like, what are you excited about? Let us know, because this is kind of feels like a little bit of a next phase, like an opportunity to reflect and move forward. This is just so amazing because it really represents a community. Like, how many people? And I could never have done this without an amazing team. And that's first and foremost Mark. I'm gonna embarrass you for a second. Mark is the most amazing husband. Like, you support me, you're always there for an adventure, you always believe in me, you have pushed me to be able to do more than I ever thought. And being able to do it with you has been incredible. I mean, think about the most popular video on this channel is one where Mark is with me. And I'm just so grateful that you're spending your brain and your beauty on this channel because you could do anything.
No, I appreciate that.
It's just been so special to be able to grow this and do this with you.
Yeah,
It's been really amazing.
Likewise, it's been a privilege.
And it's not just us. Our video editor, the incredibly talented Orhan, has become this amazing friend. Like,
He lives just down the street.
Yeah.
We hang out with him all the time.
Yeah, it's a really great relationship. So grateful that even if we're filming, like say like a day in the life, it's like midway through the week, we want to release it on Saturday, somehow he gets it done despite his really busy schedule. So he's kind of like a miracle worker. And we've got our very first intern, Maureen, who lives in the Netherlands, and we actually met up in person when we were traveling around Europe, and we ended up in Amsterdam.
Hi guys, I'm Maureen and I study health sciences. I've been watching Violin MD videos almost since the start of the channel, and I'm so excited to be part of the creative team now.
She ended up showing us around, and most importantly, taught us the art of the Dutch pancake, which we are huge fans of. All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here, for celebrating this milestone with me, and for sending in such amazing questions. This is just, oh, it's such a feel-good moment. I just can't wait for what's to come and the next phase in this channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, and that way we'll see you in the next video. So, bye for now.